Hello, hello! It's been a few days since I've made a video, so I'm on Genesis 23 today. I made these notes a while back, so let's refresh them live. King James Version, Genesis 23, the death of Sarah. And Sarah was 107 and 20 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kirjath Arba, the same as Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. So we have to understand here with Sarah and Abraham, this is true love. Sarah is the true matriarch of the Hebrew religion. I mean, of course, there's Eve, but Sarah's the matriarch. Like, she really defines what it means to be a mother. I've gone in my past videos and you can show, and she is the reason why it continues through Isaac and not Ishmael, because Ishmael is his son of Hagar, who still holds to the Egyptian traditions and their religion and their culture and how their virtues were completely different. Sarah believes in the God of Abraham and the virtues that he teaches, and that's why their son would be raised with both wanting to please both parents, which both parents want to please God. And she is truly the love of Abraham's life. He weeps and mourns like crazy over her. They had a truly happy, loving relationship because they both truly believed and honored and worshipped God. And they raised their son to do the same. And they loved one another completely. It's one of the great love stories. Of course, Sarah and Abraham aren't really talked about as much as their love for one another. It's more the story of their life, especially through Abraham's eyes. But Sarah gets many more references than most women in the Bible. And she's the matriarch of the Hebrew religion. She raises Isaac to be a man of faith and gives Abraham immense joy all the years of his life. Love for 127, I'm pretty sure they got married like in his 30s, I think. So they almost had a whole century together of blissful marriage. Think about that. So just know that Abraham truly loved Sarah. It wasn't just like a working relationship. It was true love that they had for one another. Verse 3, And Abraham stood up from before his dead and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner, traveler, with you. Give me possessions of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my lord, thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of there art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from the hills his spulchra. I don't know. It's their burial ground, their tombs, their grave. But that thou mayest bury the dead. So Abraham's famous. Okay, he defeated these kings that were coming to wipe out the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, and they wiped the floor with all these cities before God destroyed them. He came, rescued the people that had been carried off into slavery, and wiped out what was remaining of that army. So he's a hero. He's mighty. He's known. He's powerful. He's known in both Egypt and what was the other kingdom they went to? Amalek's kingdom, whichever that was, one of the Canaanite kingdoms. In both places, God curses these people so that they won't have sex with his wife Sarah, who's still smoking hot at an old age. So they know who Abraham is. They know he's a mighty person. Now, they don't necessarily call him righteous because it's not totally sure if these people are necessarily believers. They could be believers. It's not just Abraham's line that were believers in God and worshipers of God and good people. But whether or not they believed in God is irrelevant in this sense, because the whole point of this is how people of the same faith or differing faiths had huge, immense respect for Abraham and feared him to an extent because they feared his God. Did they worship his God? Not necessarily, but they feared him and his God. And they're basically saying, none of us will nigh you a burial spot. You can have it from wherever you are. You're Abraham. We know who you are. Any of us will give it to you for free. And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Heth. So when it says even to the children of Heth, that's what I'm talking about there. So they're of a different bloodline. Are they the cursed sons of Canaan? Probably. Are all of them disbelievers? Not necessarily. What I think it's referring to is one of two things. It's either saying he bowed himself even to these people who worshipped a different faith to show humility, or one that I think is overlooked a lot is what he's saying to future generations, that he bowed himself even to this other bloodline, therefore showing that the bloodlines weren't what was important. Christ will come to save the Gentiles as well. You should still show respect even to people who are outside of your cultural bloodlines. And that's what he's doing here. Are they outside of his religion? Maybe they're both. Maybe they're one or the other. Maybe they're neither. But since it says even the children of Heth, I think it means either they're outside of their religious structure, they don't believe in the God of Abraham, or they're outside of their blood heritage, or both. In either case, he's showing humility to them. And he commanded with them, saying, if it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me, and entreat for me Ephraim the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he hath, which is in the end of his field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it to me for a possession of a burying place amongst you. And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth. And Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth, even of all that went in at the gate of his city, saying, Nay, my lord, hear me. The field give I thee, and the cave that is therein I give it to thee. In the presence of the sons of my people give it I to thee. Bury thy dead. So, once again, Abraham is so freaking shrewd. Look what's going on here. I just love the way that they took care of business back in the day. It's all in public. Witnesses around them. And they're kind of trying to outdo each other with generosity here. So first he asks and humiliates himself in front of even the sons of Heth, whatever that might mean. And says, let me please bury my dead here. And they're like, of course you can. Any of us will give it to you for free. You're Abraham. You're a stud. You're a star. We know who you are. And he's like, I tell you, let me have this cave belonging to Ephron. I will pay him whatever the field is worth when all I want is the cave. But I will pay him the price for the entire field. And Ephron's like, no, I'll give you the whole thing for free. It's all yours. And it's all in public. It's like a reverse auction going on here with generosity. So that it's kind of like getting a leg up on the next person, because a lot of this is political. So it's kind of like, hey, Abraham, you're a mighty man of power. If I give this to him for free, he'll owe me something. He'll owe me favors. See, this is the same reason why Abraham refused to, accept riches when he defeated that army and brought the people back to the cities where they belonged. And they offered him riches with the plunder that he could have had, and he gave it back to people. Said he didn't want any of their money. He didn't want any of the money, so that it couldn't be said that he got his riches from the king of Sodom. He gets his riches from God. Same thing here. Same thing here. He does not want it to be said that he owes anybody anything. So they're about to get into this generosity debate of who can be more generous. And these guys are going to try and give him the land for free, and he's going to try and offer it for a price, and it's all in public. So it gets kind of shrewd, kind of Jewy bargaining going on here, which is so fun to read. I love it. So moving on. I know this King James kind of hard to understand. Sorry about that. Verse 12. And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land, and he spake unto Ephron in the audience of the people in the land, saying, But if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, hear me. I will give thee money for the field, take it of me, and I will bury my dead there. All right. But what's Ephron respond? And Ephron answered, Abraham, saying unto him, My Lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and thee? Bury therefore thy dead. This is the debate. What is 400 shekels between us? We are friends. And Abraham's like, no, let me pay for it. Let me pay for it. The guy wants to give it to him for free. Maybe he's just being generous, and this is just, either way, this is a good way to learn how to be a good person. You know, it's kind of like trying to pay a friend for them helping you out, shingling your roof or something. And they're like, I'm not accepting your money. Like, no, you help me. I need, no. They go back and forth. So you can see it that way if you want. And that's fine, because that's a good model of how people should be neighborly to one another. You know, you should want to pay your friend for helping you if you are able to. And as a good friend, you shouldn't have done it just for the money. You should be like, no. So it's a good story if you look at it from that point of view. But if you know the history, it's also a good story when you see what is really going on. What's really going on is Abraham doesn't want to owe anyone anything. He doesn't want it ever to be said that he got his riches or anything like that from anyone other than God. He doesn't want anyone to later be able to blackmail or extort him in any way. Hey, you never paid me for that field where you buried your wife. I'm taking it back now. No, he wants to pay in front of an audience. And he wants to pay the price that you name in front of that audience, so that it can never be said that he owes you anything. He doesn't want to be in the debt of these people. Again, you can just look at it as two friendly people being like, I don't want to pay you. You need to accept money from me. You help me with, this. No. What is money between friends? Again, that's fine. That's a good way to look at it, and it's a good message. But it's also a good message to know to watch who you owe favors to. Moving on. Verse 16. And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron, and Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver, which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchant. So, he weighs it out in front of the audience, and even names who the audience is specifically, so that he has specific witnesses to this event where he pays the amount that the other guy said it was worth. Shrewd! Verse 17. And the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, that were all in all the borders round about, were made sure unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of the city. It is done in public, paid for in public, with specific witnesses named for it. Crazy. That's like a legally binding contract in today's standards. You would do it in public with witnesses to see you do this exchange so that people would remember it and know whose land it was for time immemorial. And Abraham knows this because he's shrewd. He's shrewd. He's so smart about this stuff. Another thing, which I'll get into a little bit more, is there's a lot of theories that this is the cave that Adam and Eve went into after they left the Garden of Eden, and the Cave of Treasures. Those are lost writings, non-canonical. I don't put much stock into them, but they're kind of fun to look at. But there's a lot of theories that this same cave that was purchased, where these people started being buried, and these caves in the area were the ones that Abraham and his descendants hid out in. And I mean, there's even stories that it wasn't a manger that Jesus was born in Bethlehem. It was a cave outside of Bethlehem, and it was the same cave that Adam and Eve originally went into. I mean, just interesting stuff. It's not really important for salvation's sake. Alright, verse says 19. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, the same as Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And so the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for possession of a burying place by the sons of Heth. That sounds like a legal contract, because it is a legal contract. You're naming the witnesses, where it happened at, how much was paid for it. An audience observed it. It's a legally binding contract for this land that Abraham purchases, even though they offered it to him for free. So he's being extremely generous here. The other guy's trying to be generous too, maybe because he's a good friend and he wants to be generous, maybe because he's trying to get Abraham under his toe so that he can hold it over him. Either way, Abraham's having none of that. None of it. So either way, it's a good lesson to be learned. First off, learn the lesson of the love that Sarah and Abraham had for each other and for their son Isaac, and how glorious it is for two people to have abounding faith and love in God and to come together with that love to raise their children. That's why Isaac gets the blessing. From both parents, he gets the understanding of the virtues and the knowledge and the moral compass of God. And it guides him and guides his future lineage. And Sarah was as much devout as Abraham. You know, she gets a lot of, guff for the laugh that she did. But in my video, I don't really think she was laughing in the sense that this will never happen. She was just laughing that it was a bit humorous. And Jesus doesn't really call her out the way that a lot of theologians will tell you, that he's like mad at her. Because you read it, it just doesn't sound like that. Sarah totally believed in God. And if she didn't, she definitely believed after the baby was born. And she truly was the love of Abraham's life, and he was the love of her life. And they had a wonderful relationship. The second part of this chapter gets into not getting under the heel of other people. You don't want to owe people, especially specific types of people, favors. If they offer you something for free or something amazing, first off, be aware of who they are. But also, even if they're your friend, even if the children of Heth and these people, Ephron, all of them are friends of Abraham, he still doesn't want to be under their heel. Because what about the children in the future? What about his descendants? You know, we gave that land to him for free. You know, he's not our friend, and his children aren't our friends. No, he paid for it in public, legally binding. So shrewd. So smart. Alright, quick video for the day. God bless.